I think your very close connection with the schools, with the mentors, is a real strength of your programme here in Poland. But another thing that we do not have in Ireland is the fact that you continue to mentor and tutor your graduates after they have left. With us, we kind of open the door and let them go, and we have nothing more to do with them, which I think is a pity, because I think then they're getting mixed messages. So I like the continuation you have here, and I think it'd be something we could look into having in Ireland.
The idea that your students attend schools in pairs, I think it really allows them to ease into the teaching space really well. We were able to observe a school yesterday where two students worked brilliantly together. It was some excellent co-teaching. And then beyond that was the idea of your mentor teachers is a much stronger relationship than we would have in Ireland. And you were able to build on that brilliantly. So immediately after the lessons, we could see really positive but instant feedback that your mentor teacher could give to the student. And I suppose just informal conversations that they just have from that close relationship. So it's definitely a takeaway that I would take from this part of the trip, and something I'd hope to carry home for our students. Some really interesting things, like we spoke at length there about the similarities and the differences in challenges. But even within each challenge, there's aspects of difficulty and aspects of similarity, and I think it's funny, and Tom will speak to it more because he's Tom, but some of those cultural things that maybe you're not aware of until you get a chance and an opportunity like this to discuss them, around the table with people in that extended setting. I think I'm very grateful for that.
As a critical theorist, for me, what I found fascinating really was the visit to the school yesterday, and in particular, based on our discussions on day one, I got the sense from the Polish side that trust, or should I say distrust, in the education system is kind of a societal or public issue here. That people don't have trust in it, that's a problem. And I think trust is a perennial challenge for all of us in education and teacher education, and those of us interested in promoting a kind of education that is equitable and, promotes issues such as social justice, global citizenship, and an appropriate approach to climate justice. So I think trust for me is something that is a constant challenge, but it was good to see the flip of that yesterday, which is to visit a school which demonstrated a trust in the students of the school, to the extent that these formal rules were not necessary. So formal rules and disciplinary procedures such as the banning the use of mobile phones, banning the use of or reprimanding students for showing or coming in a few minutes late. There was no formal rules and no need to engage in those types of practices in the school. So it was very good to see that the school as an organisation has put that trust in their students as well. So trust really being that kind of permeating theme. And that links very much to what I think in terms of a takeaway, if you look at the difference between Ireland and the Polish school, is there's a slightly different culture to what I emphasised, in that in Ireland I would classify most of our schools as following quite, in many cases, a rigid set of disciplinary rules, and banning the use of mobile phones. And in that way it kind of follows a trope of education that really looks at regulating and controlling students, and regulating them to the extent that we deny them their own kind of personal agency to make a decision not to engage in misappropriate or inappropriate behaviour with a mobile phone. I'm just taking the mobile phone as an example. But that for me is a big difference, that there's a willingness here to put a bit more trust in students to be responsible citizens. And I think that's something we definitely could develop, culturally in Ireland a little bit more across schools. And forgetting these kind of developmental or psychologized tropes of adolescence, and realizing that they're just as much citizen as a fully grown teacher that's there. And it's nice to see when you take away these kind of punitive culture, doesn't descend into chaos. You know, things go well, and that's underpinned by the relational focus that the teaching seems to take here with the collaborative learning, the group work, you know, things like through the thinking classroom and stuff like that. So that was very good to see, and it's nice to take that away, I think, to see what we can do with it at home.